You're listening to a Frequency Podcast Network production.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Welcome to Thursday. My name is Brock.
I'm Dalby. I would like to start the podcast today by asking your opinion on something. Is Coldplay a rock band?
Oh.
To give some context, so there's
Would
this...
you call them like alternative rock?
Well, so that's what I'm asking.
Maybe?
There is this app that I do like Wordle, and how Wordle got big and then it spanned a million other games. There's one called Bandle.
That one that you play here in the morning.
I play it every day, where it gives you a piece of the song and you have to try and guess it in as few instruments as possible before you get the whole thing. Yesterday, I can say this because it's not a spoiler, it gives you the genre and the year it was released before you even start, and it said it was an alternative rock song, and it ended up being that Fix You song by Coldplay. And I sat there and I thought, I think I would have gotten this faster if they had been a little bit more honest about the genre of this music.
I mean, I just Googled what genre is Coldplay, and it says Coldplay's musical style has been defined as alternative rock, being compared to Radiohead and Oasis.
I don't think it's... I feel like the term alternative is being used to erase any kind of genre qualification. Because not in a million years would anybody call Coldplay a rock band, but then you just go, I'll just throw alternative at the front, and now we can call them whatever the hell we want.
Yeah, apparently the singer Chris Martin once called his band's music limestone rock, which I don't even know what the hell that's supposed to mean.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
I mean, he also at one point supported Gwyneth Paltrow's business endeavors, so who's to say?
True.
Who's to say what he knows about?
Do you think anyone's ever started a mosh pit at a Coldplay concert?
Maybe to get out. Maybe they thought they were there for something else. You know what it is sometimes good bands open for Coldplay, and you get that mix of people who came late because they just wanted to see Coldplay, and people trying to leave before Coldplay starts, and then a mosh pit forms.
I want to establish, I'm not a hater of Coldplay by any means. I don't think they're a bad band, but I would not consider them rock.
It offended me in some part of my core to hear them labeled as a rock band.
Yeah, I guess it's what defines rock. Is it just if you have drums, guitar, bass, and a singer?
Yeah. Oh, I mean, is that also, can we say that rock is the most bastardized genre in all of music? Pop is pretty, what it is. Hip hop, all these other things are kind of what they are. Country has some weird blurring on the edges, but it feels like the scope of what is a rock band, from all the way from metal to indie folk and everything in between, feels like it really is just guesswork.
Oh, you could be like a fusion metalcore ska band if you wanted
right,
to.
and then you just, what do you guys do? Oh, we're a rock band. You just tell people we're a rock
I will say, speaking of ska, ska needs to make a comeback, and then the world will be a better place.
Tell you what, as soon as Coldplay puts out a ska album, they can call themselves a rock band.
Ska music is what it feels like to eat mozzarella sticks. I saw that in a meme one time.
You know what? I get it. I never would have thought of that on my own, but you've led me to the water and I'm ready to drink.
I want a cover band that does all Coldplay songs, but it's ska version, and they're called Ska Play.
Cold ska?
Cold ska. Cold ska. That just sounds like someone who can't speak English very well trying to say coleslaw.
No, cold ska sounds like a really bad brand of chewing tobacco. Give me a plug of that cold ska.
Either way, I'm going to the bar to go check them out.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
Florida man, doing bath salts and lots of bad stuff. Is it drugs? Maybe. Will he get caught? Who knows? Look out. Here comes your Florida man.
He really is a superhero.
We do have a Florida man story for you today.
Yes.
This one, a guy broke into a sex shop.
Okay.
And
what was it called? I love the names of these stores.
The name of the store was she says it in the name of this clip here. I forget what it was, but watch this video here.
When this man got the feeling, he did some sexual stealing. You can see the bandit throw a brick into the glass door of an adult store. Tender moments on North Cleveland Ave around 11:30 p.m. on Sunday night. He even cut wires outside, but not the wires for the cameras.
Thank
you can see
God.
the burglar prance in, and he heads right for a $300
The way he runs
sex
in and out.
doll. He ends up going back and forth into the business 3 different times, even changing clothes and bringing bringing along a hot pink duffel bag to steal more adult items from the shop. This time, the thief heads right for the male enhancement pills.
Oh, no.
Thinks about leaving and turns back around for more X-rated items. Caught on camera, the crook finally, around 2:30 a.m., gallops across the parking lot with his stolen goodies.
Gallops is a great term for
The way
this
he's like prancing around
Right.
throughout the store, he literally looks like a Scooby-Doo robber or
100%.
something. Yeah.
And like the way like some of these cuts that he makes like back and forth is if you want to see the video, text
Florida?
to 762-555 or check the podcast links if you're listening after the show. Like he almost looks like a combination of like when you were in gym class and you had to run lines.
He's the most unathletic person I've ever seen in my entire life. But I love the fact that he changed his clothes 3 different times.
Yeah.
And if you caught it, she said it started at 11:30 and he went till 2:30.
Right.
So he just he must have went home and came back multiple times.
Here, let me posit this theory because they have not found this man as far as we know. What if we think that he went home and changed his clothes and came back 3 separate times? What if he went home, like the first guy stole the sex doll. Someone else noticed the window was smashed, put on another set of clothes. What if this is 3 different guys that just kind of look the same?
There's no way 3 different guys prance around like that. There's no way. I've never seen anybody run like that
3
in my life.
unathletic dudes robbed the same sex shop in the same night?
So so they have the actual list of everything that he stole. It was the sex doll.
Yeah.
They say a double-ended, let's call it a toy.
Sure.
They call it the stroking toy male rose.
Okay.
He got some rubbers. He got another toy for the bedside dresser. And then, of course, as she said, the erectile dysfunction pills and male enhancement pills.
You know what's great is when people get busted for a lot of these crimes, it's because they stole something and then like someone in their life noticed they had suddenly a bunch of money or a bunch of jewelry or a bunch of whatever it is. Do you think anyone in his life is going to be like, man, Steve suddenly has a bunch of rhino pills. I wonder how he got them.
His mom's like, he just won't let me in his room anymore. It's been very weird.
The idea that this man was living with his parents makes it so much worse.
Dude, the idea of getting caught for this is stealing stuff is bad.
Right.
And there's the embarrassment of, if you get caught stealing and you needed a loaf of bread for your family, that's obviously embarrassing. But being the guy in jail who got caught stealing male enhancement pills?
Well, we talk about this all the time. Like when you're sitting in the cell with hardened criminals and everybody's going around, what are you in for? What are you in for?
Yeah.
Oh, I jogged home with a $300 sex doll is not going to be high on the list.
I do wonder because, if you ever get worked up and you're kind of horny, and not to be too sexual natured this morning, but do you think he got that, post-game effect clarity, if you know what I mean? Like, if he used any of these products.
Right.
And then all of a sudden he got the shame and guilt out of nowhere.
He's on the high and the dopamine of how exciting this all was. And he goes home and he celebrates. And then, in that cold light of
because
day.
you can't be reselling this. Like, this is all got to be for him. There's no way that you could resell any of these products anywhere.
Well, you could sell the pills. You can go on Facebook Marketplace and start up a little pill racket.
If you're buying erectile dysfunction pills from some guy on Facebook Marketplace, ED is the last of your worries.
Brother, who are you to judge the hard times people are going through?
Lack of hard times, more like it, brother.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I just want to say, if you're stealing, you're getting shame. You're getting shame-belled automatically, but some stuff is way more embarrassing. I mean, that guy got caught stealing all those ED pills. It'd be like getting caught stealing hair pills or something.
Right, yeah. Some finasteride. You got a bunch of them in your pocket. Like, oh, where are you going with those?
Just a bottle of Rogaine or something.
And you know what? As a bald man, you can't just casually walk out. Everybody sees you.
Yeah.
Everybody saw the light hit your dome.
Well, it's kind of that same idea of things that are embarrassing to buy are even more embarrassing to be caught stealing. The hair pills, acne, cold sore, enema or something.
Preparation H. And, honestly, one of the most embarrassing places to get caught stealing from is probably a pharmacy / drugstore, like a Shoppers Drug Mart.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff in there that if you got caught stealing, they'd be like,
And it's really tough to explain if they pull you in the back room and they're like, why'd you take the X-Lax? And you're like, what do you think?
If we're being, do you need me to say it? Because I feel like we all know what's going on.
Yeah.
All right? I didn't want to talk to the 16-year-old kid at the counter about why I need X-Lax, so I just put it under my hoodie. I'm sorry.
I guarantee you there's probably guys that have stole tampons rather than buy them because for some reason dudes get so embarrassed to buy them.
Right, they're standing in that aisle. They're trying to figure out which one. They can't remember exactly what product they've been sent for. They know that they're going to feel the
They're
shame.
in the back room. Please don't call my girlfriend. She's so mad right now. Please.
You're
please.
only going to make this worse for me.
You have no idea. I need to get home back so fast right now.
Getting caught stealing tampons. Just like, just lock me up. Take me to jail. You cannot send me back home now.
I don't know if you want to go to jail for that either, honestly. It's a tough one to explain to the guy that you're sharing a cell with. What are you in here for?
What did you do to get in here?
Couple maxi pads. Tampax Pearls, actually.
They had the cardboard applicator.
Dude, that's how you get a nickname in jail, man.
Yeah, people are going to talk about you, that's for sure. Not in a way that's going to be flattering.
You don't want to be known as Tampax in there.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
So science recently discovered that birds are idiots.
I mean, if you're even willing to admit that they're real, then I actually do believe that they're probably pretty dumb.
According to a new scientific study, which I don't know how they came up with these numbers, they say that more than 1 billion birds die every single year after crashing into buildings.
1 billion with a B.
They say 1 billion birds.
That is so many birds.
That's a lot of birds, dude. They're just running into windows all the time. They say that 1,900 bird deaths happen every single minute.
1,900. So from like the time we start talking to the time we finish talking about birds right now, 3,000 to 5,000 birds will have died.
Just running into windows.
So many.
Oh my God.
That just makes it sound like it should be happening a lot more often, right?
There's this huge article that I read about it last night, and when I finished, I was like, well, what do they want us to do about it? Are we supposed to make buildings smaller?
Right. Are we supposed to muddy up our windows so that they know not to do it?
Yeah.
Oh, but even then, I'll say this. I am not someone who extensively Windexes the outside of my windows at home. Mm-hmm. I have had more than one bird in the last 3 years since I bought that house. I have had more than one bird fly into that window.
Which I've watched enough scary movies to say, like, that's a bad omen, I feel like.
Well, you didn't need to say that. I didn't need to have that in my head now.
I was curious, though, because the stat of 1 billion birds dying a year is crazy. So
Yeah.
I just gave a quick Google, and it's just Google, so I don't know how true this is, but it says there are 50 billion individual birds in the world.
Okay.
And 1 billion of them are dying every single year. Check this out. For every human that there is on Earth, there's about 6 birds.
That's nuts.
Isn't that terrifying?
The idea that we could each be responsible for 6 birds.
We could be
sucks.
overpowered by the birds.
I think I could fight 6 birds. Listen, as long as you take care of your
6
birds.
hawks? You think you could take 6 hawks? 6 turkey vultures all at once?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't think so.
Well,
man.
listen, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm a human with opposable thumbs. I'm allowed to pick things up. If I have a bat, I think I could fight 6 hawks.
I think you get one of them and then they maul your face.
Also, why do it have to be hawks? Why can't I have like a chickadee or something? You know?
You got to catch them first is the thing.
Who's fighting these other small birds and leaving me with all the big ones?
So I did some other research. So there's 6 birds for every human on planet Earth.
Okay.
Apparently, there are 2.5 million ants for every human.
That's gross.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, I fight 6 hawks, I lose to 2.5 million ants.
If you don't like that, for every human, there are 2.8 million spiders for every human.
Yeah, most of them live in my basement, I swear to God.
Some of them crawl into your mouth as well. For every human, there are 17 million flies.
Oh. You know what? That one I feel like is true. And I feel like we meet them every summer.
In your house at all times, there are like 10 flies for just you.
Dude, if you've got your eyes closed in the dark trying to go to sleep, it sounds like 17 million flies in there.
I was trying to find if there was any stats on rats, and I couldn't really find anything with like the human to rat ratio.
Well, that's because Alberta's not carrying their weight out there being all rat-free.
Is that the rat capital of Canada?
No, there are no rats in Alberta.
Oh, they have no rats?
They famously brag about being a rat-free free province, which means that we have to take their share of the rats.
The biggest one that I could find, though, was in New York City alone. They say that there are around 3 million rats.
That's in one... I mean, New York City, obviously, fairly large landscape, but 3 million rats. Imagine if they all, for whatever reason, got in one place.
And then I saw another stat that was apparently if you're in any big major city, say you're Toronto, you're New York, Montreal, whatever it is.
Sure.
There's a theory that within 15 feet of you, there is always going to be a rat.
Within 15 feet?
Yes.
Oh, God. I have a wedding in Toronto coming up next weekend, and you've just ruined it. I'm going to spend the entire day that I'm in Toronto. There's a rat. There's a rat somewhere around here, 15 feet.
Dude, being in Toronto is basically like being in jail. There's a rat like around every corner.
This is the Brock and Dalby Podcast.
There's a Filipino athlete who was the first male athlete to get gold at the Olympics. And so for his compensation, he got a bunch of pesos, like 10 million in pesos. And on top of that, he got a free condo and stuff.
That's got to be, honestly, like getting the money is huge. But a free place to live? Like, I mean, just look around the city here. How much it costs to rent a place, to buy a place. To be able to come home with a gold medal and then be like, you get to live here for free now, is probably worth vastly more than anything else they could give him.
Then on top of that, the Philippines is going to give him the lifetime supply of ramen.
Which is amazing. Is it like is it just like Mr. Noodles packets?
I don't know. I guess whatever big brand is out there.
I just love the idea that he's got like a pantry that is floor to ceiling with just those little instant ramen.
Yeah. There's going to be a buffet that's going to give him free food for the rest of his life. And then once he turns 45.
Does it say what his sport was? Sorry?
He was a gymnast.
A gymnast. Okay.
But once he turns 45, he gets the lifetime of free colonoscopies there.
Which is good. I mean, any kind of health care that you can receive is fantastic. I do love that most of the prize is like junk food related.
Yeah.
Because the rigors you put yourself through to stay in shape to be a gold medal Olympian gymnast. I'm guessing the guy wasn't hitting the buffet very often before this.
Yeah.
I love that it's like, I don't know how old he is, if this was his last Olympics or whatever, but the idea that they're like, hey, you got your gold, you did it. Let her go. Just let it all hang out now.
And then we'll check your booty later.
Yeah. You live just a nasty life for the next few years, and once you hit 45, we'll see if you're still in good shape.
Which, you know what? I kind of like the way they do things because I looked it up. Apparently, Canadian athletes. So if you get a gold medal, you get 25 grand.
Damn.
If you get a silver, you get 20, and you get 15 for bronze. You say damn, but I feel like you put in all that work, and I mean, 25 grand is 25 grand.
Well, I mean, that's just it. It's not that it's necessarily like, oh, you're not retiring on this. It's not a year's salary.
Yeah.
But like, if you need that motivation to get from fourth to third, $15,000 will do it.
I just feel like there's got to be more incentives for these athletes. Maybe that's why we're not higher in the medal rankings, honestly.
Okay.
Give them the money, but then also maybe on the side, maybe like, I don't know, a lifetime supply of maple syrup or Tim Hortons or something.
I was going to say, you get a gold medal in rowing and you get a Tim's card that's like always full.
Yeah, $1 million in Canadian Tire cash.
Right? He's got to buy an air mattress at least.
Freezer full of moose meat.
I'll tell you right now, brother, I'm not winning a gold medal at the Olympics anytime soon, but I would love a freezer full of moose meat.
At the very least, if you win a gold medal at the Olympics, you should not have to shovel your own driveway for like a year.
That would be super cool. Oh, they could give those little robot snowblowers. That would be cool.
They give you like 2 kids that come every day.
And just shovel your driveway.
Yeah.
Even the slightest flake, they'll get it out of there.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
So we were talking about the incentives that some athletes get if they win medals.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of other countries that do kind of what the Philippines did. Apparently some Malaysian athletes that won medals this year, they promised their athletes that they would get, quote unquote, foreign-made cars.
Well, I mean, I don't know much about the Malaysian auto industry, but I assume that just means a car. Right?
Yeah, they're not specifying on like what. Like, is it going to be a Kia? Is it a Hyundai?
Which country is it coming from?
Yeah.
Where I do love the idea of like a Malaysian gold medalist being like, Oh, American? No, thank you.
On top of that, what was it? Kazakhstan's promised their Olympic winners apartments on top of a cash prize as well.
Hell yeah.
They did say the size will differ according to their metal color.
Oh.
So you could get like a bigger condo or something depending on if you got gold or bronze.
Bronze, you get a bachelor suite. You get a 1-bedroom with a silver, and you get a 2-bedroom with a balcony if you get a gold.
You get a shack out back or something if you got bronze.
You get to live on the shady side of the building with the better view.
The best one though is in Indonesia. Now I don't know if this is something they're doing this year, but for the last games in 2020 or I guess 2021 rather, they were known to give their athletes 5 cows, a home, and a restaurant.
Damn, a restaurant?
Yeah, the 2 people from Indonesia that got medals last time got 5 cows, a home, and they both each got their own meatball restaurant.
Here I was thinking that the cows were for milk or for having as a pet or what a cool thing to. No, apparently they're we'll give you a meatball restaurant.
I didn't even process that.
The means to butcher your first order of meat. The first 5 cows are on us.
Yeah.
And you got to order from a distributor.
What happens after that? Also, I mean, opening a restaurant is a very hard thing to do.
It's so stressful.
Yeah.
It's you hear about, sometimes you'll hear these charities of we gave this person a brand new car and it ended up actually being a burden because then they had to make insurance payments and gas and all these other things. Imagine saddling someone who's all their life, all they've done is the pommel horse.
Yeah.
For gymnast. And now now you're a restaurant owner. Oh my God, no thank you.
They get you to file for bankruptcy and they get that house back real quick.
I'm gonna ride my cow out of town on the first day.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
The Brock and Dalby Podcast.
I found, not that I'm looking to get out of this job, but I think I might have found a better one. Have you heard of the grocery chain Aldi?
No, I can't say I have. That's not in Canada.
Not in Canada. They have some in the States, but it's mostly a UK grocery chain.
Okay.
They put up a post on their website, and it starts with 4 very simple words. Do you love beer?
Oh, hell yeah.
They're looking for a beer taster, not tester, taster, to review the beers that they sell in their store. Much like what we have, you can buy beer from their grocery chain over in the UK. They want someone to come in, try what they say is their range of delicious beers, ciders, ales, and lagers. You can post reviews, and your feedback will be crucial in helping us decide on products that we will feature in our next range.
Sign me up.
That's what I'm saying, right? Here we are in Canada, and I don't know if anybody who runs the Circle K is listening, but all these convenience stores are about to get beer and liquor sales in the store, and maybe they need somebody to help them decide what's going to go in the big stand-up fridge there.
I can tell people how good Michelob Ultra is. I can tell people how good Miller Lite is.
It's going to be 6 full rows of Michelob Ultra at every Circle K with Brock as the official taster.
Well, it's funny because there's that same job. I know a lot of cannabis companies in Canada will hire people, I guess. I don't know if you'd call it a taster or a tester, but when you go to a dispensary and they're like, hey, this one helps you read, or this one helps you get creative. This one helps you get in social. So there's a dude who literally his job is to
to try it out.
He's like, I feel pretty creative right now.
See, and that's the thing. Is when I've always heard of those those notes that they have, and I'm always like, who wrote this? Some guy, yeah. I always thought they made it up. I didn't know that most of those places had somebody on the payroll.
It's kind of like, I guess this job is almost like being a wine sommelier.
Pretty much, yeah. A grocery store beer sommelier doesn't have the same level. When you think sommelier, you think of somebody in like a nice suit or at least a vest, coming out with maybe a towel over their arm and being like, this here is a great year, giving you all the backstory.
I mean,
the rich
anyone
history.
could be a wine sommelier. You could just sit at home and drink a box of wine and call yourself a sommelier. I
think if you're drinking wine by the box, sommelier is out of reach.
I will say being a beer taster could get tough because there's a lot of beer out there that sucks, man.
Oh, that's just it. But I guess that's kind of what they're hoping for, right? Is that you'll be the one to tell them it sucks, and then they don't sell it anymore.
You're gonna have such a big gut if you took that job.
That's the thing. I would say, because it doesn't say that you'll get paid for it. I will say that, right? They're saying, we will give you free beer.
This is for the love of the game.
You get free beer, and you'll get to taste it, and you'll get to help us, like, develop our selection. There is no talk of compensation. I would think at the very least they should throw in a gym membership.
Yeah.
Let me go and run this off or lift this off after I've drank 6 beers this afternoon to tell you what you should sell.
It's a great job for someone who's sick of the relationship and is looking to get out on a Saturday.
Honey, I didn't want to go drinking. It's for work.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
See a lot of people on the text line 762-555 saying things like cars, supercars, that sort of thing. That would be kind of like, you ever get bored driving your car? And you're just like, but you can't afford to just switch cars all the time.
Yeah.
Imagine if you could test a car for like a month, 2 months, write a review for it, and then a company just sends you another one, trade it in.
I think the best one actually was Ashley. She said be a mattress tester. All you have to do is just lay around all day.
The problem with that one would only be, and I agree, like getting these, like, because beds are so, like, the technology in them now is crazy. The only problem would be is if you're doing the testing, you have to have it for a certain amount of time. And if you crawled into a new bed on that first night and you're like, oh, this sucks.
Yeah.
The idea that you'd have to stick with it for a while to do a proper review.
Although just getting paid to nap in general,
Would be amazing.
that is the dream.
Absolutely. Receiving compensation for just trying fancy new beds all
I'm
the
going
time.
to get this one out of the way because a lot of the fellas here are texting in this morning at 762-555 and they're saying condoms.
Oh, yeah.
And I know the joke because it's the classic thing from the Trojan commercials where they'll say that they've tested them or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that would be as fun as you think it is. You got a bunch of people standing around you watching you put that thing on.
Right,
like,
yeah. And even if you want to go the angle of like, oh, condom testing because look what I'd have to do to test it out. What if you get one that doesn't work?
Yeah.
If you're testing it, it means that they don't know that it works perfectly yet.
What if it's a very cold day and they're making you test out the magnums? That sucks.
That's not going to go well.
You find out it's more ribbed for your pleasure.
We also had Steve text in here, said I like to be a tool tester, just to constantly be getting new tools from different companies.
Tools, video game tester. I think even doing, what are those called? They're like focus groups when you go, like, they get people for new TV shows to watch.
New TV shows, listening to new albums, stuff like that. That would be dope.
I would love to just sit there and go against what everybody else is saying.
Whether it's good or bad,
Yeah.
you came in with no opinion. You were just ready to be that guy.
Yeah. I think the worst one would have to be fireworks tester.
Why would that be the worst one? I think that would be cool.
That'd be so dangerous.
Well, you probably get better at it with time. Hopefully.
Lose a couple thumbs. It'd be either that or like a jock tester or something.
That one I would not want to do. 100%.
Someone has to do that, right?
Well, in theory, right? The people who create these things, they have to make sure that it works, especially something like a jock. You can't just send it out to people playing sports and be like, we're pretty sure this is going to be okay. Someone has to strap up or they have to do some kind of testing.
And I'm sure maybe they don't do it as much anymore, but like bulletproof vests back in the day, they most definitely had people test that out.
Well, that's just it, right?
Kiss
now,
your wife and kids every day, a little extra more.
Just remember, Dad makes all this money because he might not come home tomorrow from the bulletproof vest factory.
Be curious what kind of life insurance policy that job has.
I have to assume as soon as you tell them what you do, they would be like, well, we hope that you find insurance somewhere else because it certainly won't be here. Maybe the company covers it under like their big liability insurance. Don't worry, Johnson. We'll take care of your kids and wife after you're gone.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
The Brock and Dobby Podcast.
Ed's word of the day.
Now, Ed sent us a message and said that this one was for me, so
Yeah,
I'm very
yeah.
curious as to what today's word is.
Let's see what he's got.
Good morning. Today's word is glabrous. Yep. Glabrous. 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 And it's free from hair
Okay.
or down. Smooth. Yeah. I'll leave it at that. Just no hair. I guess. Anyways, that's about it. Cheers her up. Bye for now.
So it's just bald.
It's
It's just a fancy way of saying bald.
It says glabrous, having a surface without hairs or projections.
Okay, first of all, I haven't shaved in a few days. I'm clearly not glabrous. I have hair on my head. It's thin, and it's not, close together, but it's there.
Listen, brother, I don't want to get into this with you. Don't make me get into this with you. I will say, saying glabrous rather than bald is kind of a little bit nicer.
No, I'll tell you right now, as someone who was just called glabrous, it does not take the sting off knowing what it means.
Like if I was looking for you, or say we were at an event and someone was like, where's Dalby? And I was like, hey, look for the glabrous guy. That sounds a little more nice than look for the bald guy.
No, because here's what's going to happen. You're going to say, oh, just look for the glabrous guy. And someone's going to go, oh, did you say glamorous? And you're going to go, no, glabrous, like bald. You're eventually going to get back to it.
See, the thing is you need to have more confidence because then you can be glabrous and glamorous at the same time. And once you find that in yourself, you'll be happy in life.
What am I, Vin Diesel? You can't be glabrous and glamorous at the same time.
The fast and the glabrous? Glabrous. Please use it on your bald friends today, all right?
I live my life one bottle of finasteride at a time.
For more Brock and Dalby, tune in weekday mornings 5:30 to 9.
The Brock and Dalby podcast is brought to you by badshop.ca, the Brock and Dalby merch store. With all proceeds going to the Canadian Cancer Society.